It's time for To the Max Sports, where we talk about sports. They're just two guys, Max and Drew, in a bar talking all things sports. Well, without the bar. And the beer. Wait, why aren't we in the bar?
Hello, and welcome to the Max Sports. Y'all know what time it is. It's time for To the Max Sports. Coming to you live from the Flying Whippet Production Studios in downtown San Antonio, just a cannonball shot away from the world-famous Alamo. We have a special guest in the house, our NFL insider, Carlos. How you doing, Carlos?
Hey,
Good to see you.
Likewise, man.
So we're going to talk about gymnastics?
We're going to talk about gymnastics first.
Okay.
Well, Bob wants to talk about the Olympics. I guess we can.
It only happens once every 4 years.
I kind of staged my little mini boycott because, you know, Bob, I love sports. We all love sports. That's why we do this. We don't do it for fame. Obviously, we're not doing it for money, but you can hit that like and subscribe button. Always support us. But, you know, sports is kind of my escape. And I really didn't want to see some creepy, weird reincarnation of the Last Supper or whatever was going on with the opening ceremony. Don't think it was appropriate. There's a time and a place for all this stuff, and I'm cool with that if you want to do your thing. But let's focus on the athletes, and what I saw was not a rendition of athletes. It was some kind of, I guess, social inclusivity, something going on.
Yeah, no, I mean,
so it kind of pissed me off.
It was the French showing a tolerance and égalité. I mean, that's kind of what it was about. I mean, and the opening ceremonies have always been about showcasing the city in which the games are being held.
Well, why don't the French think us twice because we saved their ass twice, okay? Or they wouldn't be having their Olympics. But other than that, you know, I have cut snippets when I've been in local establishments drinking an adult beverage, and I saw something that, you know, I think we can all say at one time or another our junk has caused problems maybe in our personal or professional lives, but it never cost us a gold medal. Did you see the...
no, hold on a second.
His junk cost him Olympic gold.
It cost him a chance at a medal, but he was never going to win a gold medal because the gold medal went to a guy who just set the world record.
Okay, so maybe a medal. But he might have a career in the adult film industry.
Yeah, that was that was interesting. That was interesting.
If no one knows what we're talking about, there was a French pole vaulter, did the pole vault, clearly cleared it.
Well,
but a part of his male anatomy didn't make the cut.
So he basically didn't clear it.
The other controversy is, you know, the IBA, International Boxing Association, disallowed two individuals from competing in the women's boxing division because they, in their estimations, not mine, not yours, not Bob's, I don't know what the criteria was, but said that they didn't meet the qualifications to compete in female boxing, but the Olympics overrode that.
No. Hold on a second.
Okay.
The Olympics didn't override the IBA. The IBA is having major financial problems and internal organizational problems. The IOC basically said, you aren't competent to provide oversight to the boxing tournament at the Olympics. Therefore, we are going to do it. That's what happened.
Well, again,
they didn't override them. They basically inserted their own rules and regulations because the IBA was incompetent to do it.
In their estimation.
Yeah, it's the IOC.
But what I'm watching in these matches is female boxers getting the hell beat out of them by a certain segment of the population, and the old IBA that considers them to be
the segment
males.
The segment of the population called female?
Well, I will say this, you know, I'm going to defend females because they have worked very hard, you know, Title IX. They've done a lot of things, and I know there's some controversy in this, but at the end of the day, it's tough if you're a female athlete that's worked your entire life.
Like those two are.
Are they?
Yes, they were assigned female at birth. They were born female. They're listed as female on their passports. They have never been anything other than female. And the reality is this whole gender controversy in the Olympics has been going on since the first time they admitted a woman into the games. And we don't know exactly how to make it fair, and they struggle and they fail. And at first it was actual gynecological exams that were done by doctors, and then it was XY chromosome testing, and then it was testosterone testing. Yeah. They aren't. It's a very, very hard thing. But these two athletes are not transgender. These two athletes were female at birth, female their whole entire life. And
do you think it's unusual, though, that the two boxers in question are probably heading on a collision course to fight each other for gold?
No, they're not. They're in two different divisions, and they're already out. The boxing is already done, and neither one of them won gold.
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot of much ado about nothing, because the Olympics have had this problem for years and years and years. I mean, back in the old Soviet bloc days, when we all looked at the women that were competing for the Russians, we looked at them and go, yeah, that's a really manly man. That's a manly woman.
That's a woman on steroids.
So, yeah. and that was the part which kind of like threw it off. There was a lot of reporting that they were trans competing, and they weren't. They were female, and I think it's a disservice to them.
So what's your take on, kind of switching gears away from Olympics? What about this Leah Thompson that was 548th ranked male in the world, crushing, the female swimmers, collegiate swimmers?
If the sporting authority says they are eligible to compete, they are eligible to compete. I am unqualified to make a determination as to whether they have an advantage over the other athletes.
But you have an opinion, don't you?
Yeah, my opinion is the sporting authority that has purview over the sport is the one that makes the rules. And she followed the rules as they were constituted when she competed.
Well said.
Okay.
Well said.
I don't think politicians should get in this. I think it's the sporting it's the sporting body, and they have now come out, and yes, she would no longer be eligible to compete.
Which, in my estimation, is a fair ruling. Because the fact can't be lost that the individual is 548th in the men's division and became far and away the best female swimmer once the transition or whatever.
I mean,
took place.
and the whole idea of that is she didn't win every race she ever swam in. So there were women that were beating her. But again, if the sporting authority says they can compete, and I am okay with it.
Let's get on to happier topics.
So let's talk about players that I don't think can compete.
Okay.
Dak Prescott.
Brutal.
And the whole Cowboys front office.
So we are moving on to one of the reasons we brought Carlos in here. Before we get into our NFL insider talk, Bob, did you see that the coaches poll came out for college football?
I don't care.
Because it's the fucking preseason coaches poll.
Yeah. I understand, but it's still something we can talk about. I mean,
it's going to be interesting to see this season come out.
You've got Georgia. You got Ohio State. I'll just do the top five. Mm-hmm. Oregon, who's joining the Big Ten. And they've made some real moves towards some – they're signing some quality athletes.
Yeah, and they left the train wreck that was the Pac-12.
Then you got Texas, who left the train wreck that was the Big 12. They're going to be in the SEC.
The only way Texas –
and Alabama rounds it out.
And the only way that Texas makes the CFP is because they expanded it to 12 teams. Are you telling me Texas is going to compete week in, week out in the SEC?
Well, one of the things I think Texas, they did have a good recruiting class. Of course, their quarterbacks, that's going to but they lost 11 players. They lost 11 players to the NFL.
Yeah.
So that's going to be quite a bit of a I mean, a quick rebuild. So we'll see if they stumble along the way. But, yeah, they lost quite a bit of talent, losing 11 NFL players.
Carlos,
or 11 players.
Carlos, did you buy College Football 2025?
Yes, actually I did, man. Let me tell you, I've spent a lot of time. I spent a lot of hours on it, so it's lived up to the hype. Let me tell you guys.
Getting some money to those athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. Pay the players, man. Let's go. I love what Baylor did with the T-shirts. They have on all their little workout shirts, it says "Pay the players." So, yeah, it's good for them. Yeah, good for them. Yeah, they're all driving around, very, very expensive luxury cars.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I'm really stoked for college football this year, and of course, we'll see how it all pans out. But yeah, those are your top 5.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And in Michigan land, you'll be happy about this.
Yeah.
Moore is now being investigated for level 2 violations. The university is still being investigated for level 1 violations. And guess what's going to happen with it? Absolutely nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, and I actually don't want to see any Big Ten team get investigated because I want to compete with the best, and I don't want there to be any controversy, and I want you to get there, the right way. And it'll be an interesting season for Michigan for sure.
Yeah, it'll be a letdown.
It's going to be a fun and exciting season for the Big Ten, with the new additions, and the SEC is going to be a lot of fun.
I'm going to be really interested to see what happens in the other. What do we call them now? The Power 4 conference, because the Pac-12 is no longer in existence. About what happens to the ACC for how many teams they get in this new CFP. And I mean, SEC could have 3 or 4 teams in this new top 12.
Yeah. Well, even when they go to 12, Bob, there's going to be the 13th that says they should have been in.
Fuck off.
You could have 60 freaking teams like they do in college basketball, and someone's going to say they got shorted. So
the 13th ranked team doesn't deserve to play.
I agree. I don't even know if the 12th ranked team does, but it's all about them dineros, brother.
Yeah, but the awesome part about that is 5 through 8 are going to host 9 through 12 at their building.
Okay.
That's going to be awesome.
If you lose those, then you deserve to.
That's going to be
get
awesome.
booted out. But
anyway,
NFL. Any thoughts?
Oh man, where do we begin? Obviously, we have a couple weeks left until the start of the season. I'm excited to see a lot of different things. Kind of like really week 1 is going to be fun to watch. It starts off Thursday night. Baltimore going to Kansas City to play the Super Bowl champions. So
fun game.
Yeah, literally going to be a good.
Talking about Kansas City, and you'll be happy about this. John Gruden at Kansas City camp wearing Kansas City Chiefs gear. Did you hear this?
I did not.
Yes.
This news to me.
Well, I haven't heard the latest on that lawsuit, but they're saying Gruden's got the skinny on.
So Gruden can get back in the league. He'll let it go.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, I'm not a huge Gruden fan. He always kind of annoyed me, and he was terrible come draft day. I couldn't understand his, to let that guy be on your. Drafting your players. I mean, he was worse than Belichick when it came to drafting players.
Yeah, and going back to what the season looks like, there's a lot of interesting side stories.
Yeah,
is Pittsburgh going to run a 2 quarterback offense?
Mike T.
I think they'll run a 1 quarterback offense till one of them goes down. So, at his age, I expect Russell to go down probably early. And
well,
I know you got a lot of thoughts, but I'll tell you what, you heard it right here, right now. Send a comment if you disagree. Chicago's going to have some buyer remorse. And I said this last year.
For which one of them?
With the talent that they've surrounded this young kid with, and they're saying he's having some trouble in camp. I was always a Justin Fields fan. I thought he was put in a tough spot. And I think probably around the 4th or 5th game of the season, they're going to be saying, man, maybe we should have stuck with Fields.
I like the
You mean Chicago should have?
Chicago.
I
know you guys like the pick.
I mean,
but his track record against blitzing in college he did not fare well.
But
and they're going to throw the sink at this kid.
Yeah, but the one thing I'm going to say, I mean, it's a false narrative to say that if he goes to Pittsburgh and has success, that he would have had success had he stayed in Chicago.
Well, he didn't have the talent that's now around him. What they got the kid from
Keenan Allen
and DJ
Washington.
Moore. Who was the kid they drafted?
Roma Dunze.
I mean, look at this. I mean,
Stats.
That's talent that they didn't have. They've beefed up their offensive line. Their defensive line's gotten a lot better with some late season acquisitions they made last year.
Yeah, not to mention DeAndre Swift to the running game. New offensive coordinator Shane Waldron coming over from Seattle.
So there was a lot of talent that Justin Fields just did not have around him.
But
yeah, the coaching too, I think, was a big deal.
And I just think maybe they might say, you know what, we gave up on Justin too early. Now, the kid, there's no doubt about his physical talents. The kid I'm talking about is the Bears' first-round draft pick.
Yeah, Roma Dunze.
Their first-round quarterback.
Oh, Caleb Williams, yeah.
Williams. Yeah. But they're saying he's having trouble in camp. He's struggling in camp.
Yeah.
And so do we have another Justin Fields situation where the kid's slow to develop, he's making mistakes? That's going to happen as a rookie. They're not going to come out like a Stroud, but we'll see.
Yeah.
What's your prediction?
Yeah. Well, I think Caleb Williams has everything, obviously, to be successful. I think he's going to be somewhat successful. I think there's going to be like some ups and down moments, but I think really towards the later half of the season, it's going to be really interesting because I think if Matt Eberflus, if they struggle like early in the year, maybe he gets the boot early, and then, because this is a guy who is now coming in as the head coach of the fourth year in a row. Obviously not a lot of success for him, so it can be really dicey, I think, in the beginning, but I think they're going to ride it out through the way. And I think I actually have them, finding a way to get into the playoffs in the NFC as a 7th seed. There's a couple teams that are really good, and then after that, there's like kind of a big drop off. And I had them sneaking in actually.
I mean, Green Bay signed their quarterback, based on his 1 year productivity. Detroit should be there.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. Stick around next week. We're going to do our predictions for each division and who we'd like to win those divisions. But the Bears are going to be an interesting team to watch.
Yeah.
Anyone else out there on your radar?
Ooh, well, I think one team that I really think could be really sneaky is going to be the Cleveland Browns. Obviously, they're in a very tough division, something you're very familiar with the AFC North. The Cleveland Browns, I think they're kind of at the end of this trip with Deshaun Watson. It's, this is like last chance you for him. I feel like he's, got, all this talent surrounding him. Now he's got a great offensive coordinator, and Ken Dorsey comes over from Buffalo that's going to try to unleash all this firepower on offense. They have a top tier defense. I think, they could be really sneaky. It's just that AFC North division is just so tough. You have Baltimore coming back. Cincinnati's going to have Joe Burrow back. The Steelers could be better on offense, so it could be really interesting to see what happens there. And not to mention, what you kind of said about the Pittsburgh Steelers is they have the toughest start of anybody in the NFL. I mean, they could literally, end up going 0-8 to start the year, but,
kind of got to start like the Bengals had last year.
Yeah.
With the teams they had to play. But, Bob, I know what you're going to say. Go ahead. And I'm going to agree with you.
I will renew my prediction that top to bottom, the AFC North will have the best combined record of any division of football.
Yeah. I agree. I disagree with you last year. I went with the division that had Miami and Buffalo and whatnot.
And Aaron Rodgers.
But, yes, the top AFC North is if you can survive that gauntlet intact, you should be able to make a pretty good run in the playoffs. Yeah. And there's at least 3 or 4 playoff worthy teams in that division.
Easily.
Yeah. It's going to be tough, and it's going to come down to health at the end of the day. I'm looking forward to seeing how Burrows does. He appears to be healthy. I know Chase and T are sitting on the sidelines with some contract issues. Those will be resolved come football time. But the thing I like about it is they're getting some looks at some younger receivers. Burton's having a good camp.
Yeah.
They got a guy, I can't say his name. You probably can't. Andre
Ivusavas.
Ivusavas.
He was a 7th-round pick last year, I think, out of Harvard.
And they're saying he's getting some monster reps in. I like the addition we picked up. We lost Mixon, but I like the addition we picked up from the Colts.
Yeah, look out for Chase Brown too, the running back.
Brown?
He's got some juice coming off the edge. He's can be dynamic, especially in this offense.
Yeah, I mean, you look at these AFC North teams, and you're just, talent everywhere, offense and defense. A Lou Anarumo coach team's always going to be solid.
Yeah.
So
a lot of young guys on defense that are now starting to come into their own. We're going to see some of these guys have breakout seasons. Geno Stone comes over from the Baltimore Ravens.
Love it.
So
love it.
They're going to be stacked, tough to beat.
Of course, the Pittsburgh, they're, with that well-coached team.
Yeah.
Never finished below 500, have they?
Nope.
Ever?
Nope. Not under Tomlin.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, that's to me, that's almost more impressive than Belichick's run with the Patriots.
You know what's impressive about Belichick?
He's not in the league.
His girlfriend.
Yeah.
Well,
24 years old.
Let's go, Bill.
But she's an old soul.
Yeah. And he's an old man.
And,
to me, I know it's fucking creepy to me. But.
And still, I mean, looking for a job. He's going to be commentating on one of the channels.
Yeah.
He's going to look for the right situation and get back in next year.
There is going to be no right situation. I'm going to call it now. He's never coaching the NFL.
Or he may say, you know what, I got the beach, I got the babe, I got the sportscasting gig, and maybe he'll go the way of Tom Brady and just say, hey,
but
behind the mic's the way to go.
But in the ongoing argument, was Belichick great because of Brady, or was Brady great because of Belichick? And I'm saying Belichick was great because of Brady.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean,
he failed after Brady left.
There's very few coaching geniuses out there that in the NFL, I will truly attach the genius label to, because the personnel change, but the team is always competitive every year. Yeah. Bill Walsh, got to go with genius.
Yeah, though I will say this about Belichick. Probably the greatest game manager, the greatest on-field head coach of all time. He did things that put other coaches off on the back of their heels and made them make bad decisions.
Yeah, true. But I also look at coaching tree. What has evolved from your coaching tree? And
for Belichick, it looks like it's the Kwanzaa Christmas tree.
Yeah, it's a dead tree.
No, sorry, not Kwanzaa. It's the Festivus tree.
Festivus tree. Yeah. But Walsh had a coaching tree.
God, yeah. I mean, Walsh is amazing. But then again, he's about 49.
More recently,
Tomlin's got to me, he's got to be top 5 ever. Yeah. And we're talking Lombardi. Even Lombardi went to Washington. Some of his teams stumbled late. They were competitive, but man, just to have a team that never finishes below 500, and he's been at it how many years now?
19.
19.
Yeah.
Is he the longest tenured coach?
Yeah, I think
NFL?
so. Yeah. That's a record that I'm sorry. That's the GOAT of 500 records. That'll never be broken.
Yeah, well, I think the interesting thing too is I think they usually don't have a lot of coaches end up leaving. They just stay there and they coach for 10, 15, 20 plus years until they retire, and I think that's another testament to the organization, They're always competing to win.
It's a good organization top to bottom.
Great.
It's probably the quintessential on the football side.
I do like this kid that coaches the Rams, McVay, right?
Oh yeah, Sean.
I mean, this is another guy. He takes talent and that's off the coaching tree of
Shanahan.
Yeah,
Shanahan. Yeah, I mean, you look at McVay.
And his dad was
Shanahan.
Shanahan was a genius.
No, I'm saying Shanahan's dad.
Yeah, he was a genius.
McVay, Shanahan, McDaniel in Miami. All those guys were in the Washington Commanders coaching staff.
Yeah.
All 3 of them.
Yeah. So
pretty amazing.
Something to be said for that.
Yep.
What else do you have to muse about? I know you wrote some notes.
Yeah, so I think another team that I think we're all kind of excited on, obviously the Jets.
Really?
Aaron Rodgers
really?
coming back.
Are we really excited?
Not
about the
really
Jets?
excited, but I think it's going to be worthwhile TV. He's going to be fun to watch.
It's a storyline.
Yeah, and then I think the Colts and the Atlanta Falcons are going to be really fun to watch, I think.
Do you think the Colts regressed a little bit, losing their running back? And
well, I think, getting back, Anthony Richardson first and foremost, I think is going to be crucial.
he had some playmaker moments but again, we've talked about this kind of quarterback since time immemorial, and how long can they stay on the field without, their first instinct is to be a playmaker, and that first instinct is going to get you hurt. So, how long can he stay healthy for 18 games?
Yeah, well, I think, we just never know. Injuries kind of just happen. Obviously he's going to put more wear and tear on his body. But, at the end of the day, I think he's still 22, 23 years old. I think he's going to recover quicker.
Yeah, and those two injuries, I mean, it was a concussion. Concussions happen. That was the first one. And the shoulder injury was a fluke. It was a fluke.
Yeah, let's not forget, too, there's better ways of, taking care of their bodies, obviously, with the sliding techniques and then also with some of these rules in the NFL. He still has an advantage, too, in that aspect, I think.
Oh, talking about rules, either you guys watched the Hall of Fame game and then the new kickoff?
Yeah.
Well, your thoughts, and I get some thoughts on that.
I love it. I loved it when the XFL had it, and I wanted the NFL to bring it in.
You know what? I still saw some serious collisions.
Yeah.
If they're trying to avoid that ain't going to work. But at least now, my biggest beef was, man, these guys can't, it ain't like the old days, man, watching these guys run back kickoffs. And now, fine, I think we're going to be able to see some exciting run backs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
And we're going to have.
But I did see some violent collisions.
I mean, they're violent, but they're not high speed violence.
Yeah.
That's where the injuries really happen.
Yeah.
I mean, they're now low speed violent.
That is a rule change that I'm on board with.
Yeah, I love it. Just recreating the special teams aspect. Let's bring special teams back into the fold a little bit. Obviously now coaches, what they're going to try to do is scheme up something new. Everybody's going to be trying to get an edge on everybody else. And, I think, it can be really fun to see, who comes up with what.
Do you like that the onside kick can only be executed in the fourth quarter? I mean,
yes.
That takes a serious surprise element out of the. Yeah, I know it's not that big of a thing that most teams did, and the way these teams put up points nowadays, I mean, how much of a. But I don't know. I guess again they're trying to eliminate injuries, but.
I mean, a little bit of that, but I mean, also onside kicks. It actually proves your point a little bit. Onside kicks are a lot more successful when they're a total surprise.
Yeah.
When they're not a total surprise, they're very, very unsuccessful.
Yeah.
But it's
I guess by saying, hey, we only have to prep for onside kicks in the fourth quarter. Keep an eye out on this.
It's a little bit.
Whereas in the first quarter, it may have been a surprise play, but those are the two major rule changes that I don't have a beef with. I really hope that at some point we don't have to go under the hood, that me and Bob have been bitching about this, sound like broken records. Why not have a sky ump that can radio in, hey, pick up the flag, no interference, instead of this called in New York, we're living in the 1980s.
I want the NFL to do what I've seen in so many matches in the Olympics, where the on-field referee just makes the X and makes the sign for a big TV, and that's their VAR. And VAR for all of the Olympic stuff, I think, really shows us what it should be, because it's quick and it's transparent. Because one of the things that I've noticed from watching a lot of these Olympic competitions is you're hearing the interplay between the on-field official and the person that's doing the review.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing I want. That's the other innovation of the XFL, the UFL, that I really, really like.
Yeah, that's my biggest beef with the NFL. I mean, you come to the 2-minute warning, maybe 2 challenges thereafter. Then you got a television timeout. So the 2-minute warning turns into a 30-minute odyssey, man. It's like, good Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Speed this thing up.
Very true.
What else you got? Putting you on the spot.
Yeah, another team here. We got the Atlanta Falcons. Obviously, they have so much untapped potential.
Finally got rid of that.
Yeah.
freaking coach, man.
Yeah,
he's
Arthur
with
Smith.
Pittsburgh now, right?
Yeah, now he's
he
in
can
the-
screw up Pittsburgh. They're in my division.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
they spend a gajillion dollars on Kirk Cousins and then draft a guy. I mean,
Weird.
Yeah,
okay,
it's-
you're going to draft a guy who's going to be a developmental quarterback, but you don't do it in the first round.
But at least now you got a competent quarterback. And say what you will about his fourth quarter play, which is incompetent. But Kirk Cousins, you put up his numbers the last 8 years and his win-loss record, and every NFL team would say, you know what? Not knowing what they had, I'll take that.
Really?
I'll take 83 touchdowns in the last,
Really?
Look at his 8-year record. 83 wins. I think his career wins are 83.
Yeah.
His numbers are good, Bob. His numbers are good.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
And
you know it. That's why he signed a $200 million contract.
Here is the number that you need to pay attention to. 1-4. 1-1-4. That's his playoff record.
Yeah.
Well, he's got the talent around him now.
Yeah.
He's got the wide receivers, the tight ends, Pitts. He's got the two-headed Hydra running back monsters. The offense is there. Now we just need a decent, I don't know who their OC is now, but get an offensive coordinator that can structure their game plan. The pressure doesn't have to be on Cousins.
Zach Robinson.
Yeah, he comes over from the Los Angeles Rams, so he's part of the Sean McVay coaching tree. So they're going to use all these guys. So it's going to be, fireworks.
If they tell Cousins, hey, you don't have to throw 3 touchdowns and 350 yards because we got the running backs.
And please don't throw in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Please don't throw in the fourth quarter. If they tell him that,
they could just have
Atlanta could surprise.
Yeah.
Their defense is, it's
subpar.
Decent.
Yeah. Raheem Morris, the new head coach, coming over from LA, I think one of the things he did really well last year with the Rams is he took, Aaron Donald plus a bunch of no-name kids and he got them to play very, very well. So he's got a little bit of talent there on the defensive side of the ball. And, they're going to be fun to watch on offense for sure this year.
That team, if they would have had a quarterback and an offensive coach that was competent, they easily could have gone 10-8, 11-7. They blew so many freaking games, dude.
Yeah,
and the reason I'm going crazy is because I happen to lose most of those games. Oh, man, dude. If you could see me at Buffalo Wild Wings wanting to throw my beer through a television screen.
You shouldn't do that. They'll charge you for the TV.
No, I wouldn't. But anyway.
Though I was actually in a Buffalo Wild Wings the other day. You can order from your table and not even have to talk to a waitress or a waiter.
Free advertising for B-dubs right here,
Yeah.
Love that, guys.
The thing I love about Wild Wings, and now that they've got, Bob's probably going to get a contract to show NFL games. Everybody and their freaking brothers, it's going to be tough to find a place where I can sit and watch all my games because literally I was the exorcist. I was the kid. I was the
You know who you sound
watching
like?
every freaking game real time.
You know who you sound like right now?
What do I sound like?
My mom.
Okay.
Got to watch all my shows in the afternoon.
I don't care what anyone says. You can't read a stat line and bet NFL football games. It's impossible. Because if you want to read that stat line, you're going to see Cousins threw for 4 touchdowns and 400 yards and say, they're going to beat. Now, there's a lot of fourth quarter stats out there. You got to be watching these games as they progress. And I did pretty well last year.
PSA, any of you people out there in TV land are going to bet on Kirk Cousins this year, send me your money.
I'll tell you what, Atlanta will have a better record than Green Bay.
I will
name said team.
I will take that. I will take that bait
under advisement, or you'll take
and give you a bet that Jordan Love will have a better stat line than Kirk Cousins.
Oh yeah,
that is kind of interesting bet. That is, the fact that he's coming off an Achilles, you don't know what you're going to get. But I'll take that bet. That Cousins will throw more touchdowns than Love.
we're gonna have to work on exactly what this bet is, but it's not just touchdowns. It's the full stat package.
Touchdowns to interception ratio? I don't know.
But I mean, I guess we go quarterback rating.
Yeah, QBR.
QB rating?
QBR and wins and losses.
Because Cousins has some weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not to say Green Bay doesn't, but
yeah, but it's the Falcons. It's the Falcons.
Yeah, they also play in the NFC South, which isn't, extremely competitive. It's all kind of middle of the pack teams.
it's kind of weak.
Yeah,
Kinda
it's
weak.
it's like throwing
I'm
a bunch
starting
of
to like
stuff
my
at the
bet,
wall.
Bob.
It's competitive because they're all
You
uncompetitive.
got
Yeah.
Atlanta, New Orleans.
Yeah,
you got
New
New
Orleans.
Orleans, Tampa Bay,
And then, of course, Carolina.
Carolina. I'm starting to like my bet, Bob.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Cousins has to be licking his chops.
Yeah, I don't know. We will definitely see, and we'll see in the whole quarterback thing. Whether it's Williams or McDaniel, who out of the top two go and actually show off a little bit better stat wise.
Yeah.
People are saying that maybe McDaniel was the better pick.
I mean, I'm kind of with those people. I know you're not, but
the CJ Stroud.
CJ
effect.
Stroud deal. I mean, we see who won that one. I'm looking to unveil my super. We're going to do it next week, but just a hint. Wow, the Texans look good on paper right now.
Them in Philadelphia, You talk about like who wins the offseason, Philadelphia, Houston. I mean, it's a toss-up, really,
I mean, we'll see what happens on the field, but right now I think I would give the edge to the Eagles.
Yeah.
Boy,
don't hate that.
Houston's loaded though.
Yeah.
They brought in Mixon. I've been a Mixon fan. I mean, that guy, there's not someone he doesn't want to run through, which he's not doing.
They also brought in Diggs, right?
Yeah, Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
We'll see.
To go with the receivers they already
signed
had.
Nico Collins. They brought back Dalton
Good
Schultz.
Lord.
Yeah.
And they got a defense that's going to improve, under a third-year head coach.
Yeah, but is Stephon subtraction by addition that he, I don't know, poisons that locker room?
Mm.
Well, hopefully he'll come in with a veteran mindset, but I don't think so, If he's one of these guys that starts yammering for the ball, and I think he'll be a good citizen.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think the players,
so too. I think
the coaches they got in that organization will say.
I think their main priority is obviously, getting back to the playoffs, winning the Super Bowl, and that's what Stephon Diggs, quote unquote, wants. And sometimes that might mean less touches, more touches here and there.
It's a very, very tough conference. I mean, you're staring up at the AFC North. You're still staring at the Kansas City Chiefs. I do expect the San Diego Chargers to have a bounce back year. Harbaugh, at least when he got to San Francisco, he turned that program around pretty much immediately.
Yeah.
So we'll see if Herbert blossoms under Harbaugh. On the AFC East, maybe Miami.
Didn't Tua sign a big deal?
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of quarterbacks got paid, within the last couple of months.
There's no doubt that Miami has the offense.
Yeah.
Where they shit the bed on defense. That's the.
Who hasn't gotten paid yet? Dak Prescott.
Yeah, man.
Well,
it's just a horrible situation for all of Dallas Cowboys fans to be in, because it's there's I feel like there's kind of some writing already on the wall. I mean, if in an ideal world, would I love to have Dak Prescott back? Yes, obviously. Will they be able to pay Dak Prescott, top quarterback money? Are they going to be able to pay CD top wide receiver money? Michael Parsons is also up for a deal. And, the thing is, hey, the stats are great. We love stats, 12 win seasons. That's great. But at this point, 1-3 in the playoffs, like, what are we really doing? And if it's not Dak's fault, then why are we giving him all this money? I'm done.
I've come to the conclusion now coming into this season, it's like walking to like a playground of like middle schoolers and finding the bully on the playground and beating them up. There's no challenge in it. Making fun of the Cowboys now is no challenge. It is too easy. Too easy.
Yeah, they've got problems.
Yeah, and it just feels like everybody's already talking about, next season, where Dak's going to go. And it just like, at this point, if Dak doesn't want to be there, if Jerry doesn't want him there, let's just trade him, let's just part ways. Let's make this easy
Yeah.
for
I
everybody.
mean,
you know?
how about next season where McCarthy is going to go? Where is the rest of that coaching
Well,
staff?
what makes you think McCarthy might not go mid-season this year?
Oh yeah,
I could see a 1-5 start, and Jerry's just like, we're blowing it up now.
yeah. No, it's.
I'm going to get my guy. You know, whoever that
Who
may
is
be.
this guy? Is it Belichick?
No,
Is it
Belichick.
Dion?
that would be interesting.
Yeah, that's also.
That would be really interesting.
I have heard some speculation.
And
along
I
those
could see
lines.
Jerry doing a Steinbrenner move, a George Steinbrenner type deal, and you know, bringing in a flashy guy like Dion.
I know their beginning season, their first 5 games, Browns, Saints, Ravens, Giants, Steelers.
Yeah.
I
And then
could
it's-
see 2 and 3 maybe.
And then it's
But if they
Li-
go 1-5,
and then their
Yeah,
next 2 games, Lions, 49ers.
Yeah, there's gonna be a
give me
tough
the first
stretch,
5
yeah.
games again.
Yeah. Browns
Loss.
on the road, Saints at home,
If they lose that, they could go
that's-
0.
Ravens at home,
That's a loss.
Giants on the road, which is an indivisional. I mean,
Yeah,
you can
The Giants always play them
diss
tough.
the Giants.
Yeah,
Yep, it's
could-
divisional.
the Giants.
They could split the series.
Steelers on the road, Lions
Yeah.
at home, 49ers on the road.
Yeah, they go
That's your
1-5,
first
1-6. Jerry may.
Yeah. I, you know, as much as I would love for the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl every year, I think this is going to be a bit of a regression year. Obviously, they're transitioning through an offensive line. You know, all they have is CeeDee Lamb in this offense, maybe Jake Ferguson. The running game is a huge question. Somehow we got rid of Zeke and then we brought him back. And, you know, these things are just not adding up to me. And then the defense is going through a whole change. Like, I think
Yeah.
it's just too many things to overcome, you know, and we'll see Dak Prescott. I'm calling it right now. Dak Prescott will either be a Las Vegas Raider or a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Here's another number. $9 billion. That is the current worth of the Dallas Cowboys. $9 billion.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Can someone also explain to me how the salary cap works? It seems like some teams just never run out of money, like the 49ers and the Eagles, and then the Cowboys just never have any money.
I know exactly right.
It's that California math
But-
versus
but-
that
Yeah,
Texas
like
math.
what's up with these
But-
sales taxes?
Jerry overpays his guys.
Yeah,
Then he
yeah.
always has to restructure deals,
I'm-
and he runs the shop like it's
Yeah.
Disneyland. You know, I watched that Hard Knocks a couple of years ago, and they're just out there bullshitting, and no one's
Yeah.
disciplined. And
I'm so glad
it
you
was,
said that.
It was a
you know.
joke, man.
Yeah.
And Quinn's still their DC, right?
No, he's now the head coach for the Washington Commanders.
Oh, that's right. That's
Yep.
right.
Took a bunch of Cowboys with him, you know, and
Yeah,
now we have Mike
yeah,
Zimmer,
yeah.
who's been out of the league for the last
But,
couple of years.
You know,
like,
Zimmer's probably going to be I think if they fire, what's his face, that Zimmer will come in to finish out the season.
yeah,
Maybe
I
as a
could see
coaching
that
audition.
happening.
I don't know.
Yeah. I'm done with Mike McCarthy. I think he's vastly overrated.
We've been done
Fat
for
Santa.
years.
Yeah, Fat Mike, as I like to call him. But yeah, I mean, like you said, you know, the Cowboys, as soon as somebody wants a new contract, like Dak, Zeke, they get paid, you know, guys like Jalen Smith, you know, Leighton Vander Esch, DeMarcus Lawrence, like, you know, they have the payday and then that's it. That's all we see from them. And,
Yeah.
you know, then they're out of the league or off the team in the next year or two. So,
Yeah, it's like get some hungry football players, man.
yeah, I'm tired of the show. We need results. The stats look great, you know, but they're very misleading. You know,
Yeah.
top offense, and we couldn't score anything in the playoffs. You know, like I said, Dak, I think it's been great. You know, I love the player. You know, love the person, but I think it's just not working out.
I almost wish Dak wasn't as nice as he is. I mean,
Yeah, I feel like he would have won a Super Bowl with any other team.
He's-
Literally any other team, but it's the Cowboys curse, just like Tony Romo.
yeah, he's also, I mean, he's always says the right thing. He's never puts a bad foot forward.
Yeah, great role model. These are like the people you want to look up to.
And
you
then
know.
I watch Zeke. He doesn't seem like he's the get in your face kind of guy. Like, hey,
Well, I mean, he was
He's-
the get in your breast kind of guy at the St. Patty's Day parade.
Yeah.
but they're always just kind of bullshitting,
Yeah.
you know?
It's just like Jerry Jones's favorite players, and he wants to pay them. And then, you know, like I said, they're just not living up to the hype. I
Yeah.
think, you know, Jerry's kind of just, we all know that Jerry's kind of stuck in his own way. He's not going to do anything different. And
You wouldn't have seen this kind of nonsense when you had Aikman and some of those guys. Those veterans would have gotten in their face and said,
hey, this is not the standard anymore.
But my question is, does Jerry Jones really care about winning Super Bowls?
I don't know at this point.
Your franchise is worth $9 billion. You paid $150 million for that in 1989.
I think
Do you care?
I think deep
you
down
lose, it goes up.
I think deep down inside he does, but he's only got himself to blame for the mess that they have.
Yeah.
And if you look at most of these headstrong coaches, who was the dude that, or owners? Who was the idiot that coached the Redskins for the longest?
Gibbs?
No, they chased him out.
Oh, I think, wasn't it like the
recent
owner?
one, just now, the owner.
Oh, Ron Rivera? Was that last
the
year?
They chased out the owner? Oh, yeah.
What was his name? Yeah, oh, man.
I mean, he was buying, he was paying exorbitant salaries. I can't remember the dude's name.
Yeah.
Dan something.
Sterling.
Dan
Snyder.
Nice. Good.
And,
Wow, we're good.
And then even to an extent going old school when you had the Raiders old owner, Al Davis.
Al Davis.
They let their egos, they let their bullshit get in the way of putting together a team that can compete, man.
Though the one thing, I mean, Davis was good for the NFL, and quite frankly, Jones is good for the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, every other
Not good for
owner should
Cowboys
come
fans.
down to Dallas and kiss the ring.
Yeah.
Because their franchise values have gone up as well. So number 6 on the most worthy or most valuable
Not
sports
surprised.
franchises, New York Giants.
Well, yeah, I mean, Big Apple, that makes sense. I mean, think of,
$6.8 billion for the Giants.
but can you believe though it's been 30 years since the Cowboys were in a Super Bowl?
Yeah.
30 freaking
Yeah, I
years.
can. And it makes me so happy.
With
My
the
entire life has
with-
been a lie, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I got to see it, but for Jerry Jones, the money he's got to not get he needs to invest the money in player personnel, scouts, coaches, that can, no nonsense type of coaches.
It's a front office and a culture problem there.
Yeah, it really is. At this point, I don't even blame the players.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't blame players at all.
Don't blame the players. Employees are gonna do what employees are gonna do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess we're done.
Yeah, that one hurt.
I'll have my stroke at home.
Okay.
I know.
I'm not even a Cowboy fan.
Yeah, like I said, my entire life has been a lie, guys. I was told ever since I came into this world that the Dallas Cowboys were the greatest thing to mankind, and I have never seen that ever happen.
Well, you can. I think I lost my mic here. You can be a Bengals fan whenever you want. We'll take you.
Yeah, I don't know. That's gonna be tough.
How long has it been? Yeah, my Bengals have been to. What year were you born?
94.
Oh God, I'm old.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, my Bengals have been to a Super Bowl before your Cowboys.
Oh man, got a cutoff T-shirt over here.
Yeah, it was something up.
Yeah,
Okay.
I love that.
All right, man. Well, we'll unveil the teams that we'd like to win their divisions next week. We'll have our Super Bowl, pre-Super Bowl teams, and stick around. We'll have a great show for you next week. Until then.
And congratulations to Duplantis from Sweden, set the world record in the pole vault today.
Who cares? OH.
Oh my God.
I hope.